Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, this is a new series on my channel called Wickedly Beautiful, where we do a brand new Halloween themed makeup look every Tuesday and Thursday. And here is the tutorial for the leopard look. I gelled my brows with Anastasia Brow Freeze. Now we're going in with the base. This is the primer from YSL. This is their blurring primer. And I love this for Halloween makeup because it just makes the super full coverage base look even more blurred. This is a water-based primer. I don't really match my foundation to my primer, but just in case you were wondering. Then we're blocking out my brows. I applied concealer, then orange eyeshadow to color correct, then more concealer and powder, and then I went in with some foundation. I ended up having to wipe it off a couple times, so just do it after you're done with powder to avoid fallout. Then after my brows were lightened, I didn't want to be bald in the brows, I just wanted my brows to be a light brown. So I just covered them with a light shade of brown eyeshadow. This is from the Yeva Expressions palette. I love it so much. This is her nudes palette. You can find it on the TikTok shop. I have it linked on my profile. Her shadows are so good. Then we carve out those brows with some concealer. I'm using Juvia's Place concealer. It is so full coverage. I definitely recommend it for these Halloween makeup looks, or if you're just a glam girl in general, it's a really good concealer. But yeah, I used a really light shade. I believe this might be shade 23. And I just do my concealer placement for face brightening, and I did go in with quite a lot. You don't have to use that much. Honestly, you could follow this tutorial by doing your regular everyday base if that's something that makes you feel more comfortable. You don't have to do as full glam as I do, but I love a full beat face. So then we're going in with contour next. I used the Westman Atelier stick in Chestnut, I believe, and then Amber from Anastasia. And I went and blended out that concealer with a big foundation brush just to pick up a little bit of the excess product. And then I went in with these beige brushes. I don't remember what they're called, but they're also in my showcase. I've been loving that set of brushes. It's just such good quality. It's a little expensive, but really good quality. I would buy it again for my kit. I love it so much. It comes with a few complexion brushes, but mostly eyeshadow, and I've been loving those eyeshadow brushes. Alright, here I'm using the Westman Atelier stick I was just talking about. This is a great contour stick. It's a little bit more cool toned, so it's going to give you a really chiseled shadow look as opposed to a more bronzy look like we did with the deer look. We did mostly bronze makeup. So then I'm contouring my nose, blending that cream contour out. And I go in with bronzers to make this a little more warm later, but whether you want to keep it warm or cool toned, it doesn't really matter, just whatever shade of brown you think you like. Again, you can go in with a more natural base than I'm doing. I just want there to be a huge contrast in the lightened part of my face versus the contour part of my face. Some people will join my streams and be like, that's too much makeup, that's too much contour. I'm literally a cat, okay? It's a cat costume, bye. Then I powdered down my brows just for extra longevity and, ooh, a little aggressive there. Then after that powder, I went with a little bit more of a darker brown just to define the brows and make them stand out a little more. You guys know my normal glam makeup style. I love contrast of colors. I love to make things really pop. So yeah, a lot of stuff in here is really bright or really dark because I just love that contrast, especially with Halloween makeup. It's the one day you could really go all out, so do your natural base if that's what you like, but I like to do a more full glam base. Now we're moving on to a little bit more of the details, and I tested out a few different liners here, but ended up going with the Jumbo Queen stick from Kimchi Chic, and I also used their powder earlier. I forgot to show you guys the powders. We also used Maybelline Fit Me powder, and I used this stick specifically because it's like a round circle tip. Here I'm going in with some contour just to darken it up before I do that stick. But back to what I was saying about the stick, it's like a round tip, and I really like those for Halloween makeup and patterns. I used a white stick for the deer makeup, the one from ColourPop, but this one is from Kimchi Chic, and I'm using it for the leopard pattern because it's kind of like two C shapes across from each other and just little dots all over your face. That's kind of just how the pattern is. You can make it as big or as small as you'd like. I made mine kind of like medium sized. And here I'm just finishing up my contour. As you can see, I show my contour in every makeup tutorial I do, so I'm just kind of skipping past that part and letting you guys just see the visual of it. But yeah, I like really dark contour all the time, but especially in these makeup looks, it's definitely something that makes it look a bit more like a cat, you know? They have that stripe down their nose, especially the leopards. and I'm just washing some of that contour and bronzer over my lids just to give my eyeshadow look later on a base. The pattern is super easy for the leopard. I know this look might seem very complicated because of how full glam I do my makeup and all the extra steps I take, but just do your regular base and follow the print that I'm going to show you guys later on of how to make that animal print. My mom literally thought it was like a stamp when I showed her, and I was like, no, I drew all these on myself with this pencil. But yeah, it's really not difficult. I promise anybody could do it, even if you're a beginner. Just do the base that you feel comfortable with. I just like this really in detailed, long glamour base. You could do a light makeup if that's what you like, but make sure you're using a good setting spray and a good primer, because if you're running around all night at these Halloween events, you want to make sure it stays on. And if you have a lighter base underneath, it might be harder for the print to like stick. It has nothing to really stick to, and the natural oils in your face might make it smudge. So I just did like a lot of powder underneath before I started the print, and now we're going in with just those C shapes like I talked about earlier, and then dots in between. I feel like it looks a little empty if you don't add the dots. Of course you could do what you want, but I see a lot of people don't add the dots, and I feel like it just adds a little extra dimension and texture to the look. And I went in with bigger and smaller versions of the print. I didn't keep them all the same size, again for dimension and just visual interest. I feel like it looks a lot better when some of them are bigger and some of them are smaller. And I also switched the direction of the pattern. I didn't make them all facing the same way. But trust me, you can practice on your hand for a little, but this pattern is super easy to get down. I know it looks so complicated, but it really is not. Anybody wanted that specific kimchi stick, it is in my showcase, and it is in shade Black Sesame. And I'm going in with the LA Girl, I think, or LA Colors Auto Liner. It's just a smaller pencil liner to make those circles a bit more defined, because this is a really small tip. I wouldn't use a small tip liner like this for the entire pattern, just for those small dots is what I would use it for, just because it's kind of hard to get the shape, and you'd have to do a lot more work with a smaller pencil. I mentioned this in my Dear video, but if you haven't seen it already, this stick is a cream product, so it will never dry down. So I like to go over it with a liquid liner if you'd like. I feel like it's easier to do that with black than white. I wouldn't go over a white with a liquid liner, but I did a liquid liner here just to make it a bit darker, because some of the like spots weren't as defined and sharp as I'd like them to be. But when you're using a cream stick, guys, make sure you cover those spots with powder eyeshadow. It'll set them in place and keep the color really vibrant. My spots kind of faded when I added more powder and stuff later, and you could always go over the spots to make sure at the very end that they're very dark. But yeah, cover them in eyeshadow, because that cream product is never going to set, it's never going to dry, so make sure you're using powder over it. And I would recommend using an eyeshadow, just because skin colored powders like setting powders are going to kind of dull that shade. The pencil is not as defined or sharp, so if you want a lot more detail in the pattern, make sure to go over it with a like felt tip liquid liner like I'm using here. You don't have to if you don't want them to be super sharp, but I just felt like doing this extra step. Here I'm kind of showing the different swatches on my hand that I did and why I picked the pencil that I did. So yeah, you can see some of my other swatches were kind of too thin or a little bit hard to draw, and this was just so easy, because look, you just do those two little lines and you've got the pattern, and you just repeat it over and over in different sizes. Literally a total beginner at makeup could do this. And it might get a little repetitive, but these pattern makeups are really the easiest to do. And the results just come out so nice, because you could do any base that you'd like. A lot of people have different preferences on what type of base they like, and just add a pattern on top and you can tweak it to whatever way you want. You can see the eyeliner that I do later in this video is a lot different than other people were doing it. A lot of people were doing a really sharp inner corner and a huge dragged out like cat wing liner, and I feel like that doesn't really suit my eye shape. As you can see, with no lashes or anything, I have very almond shaped like round eyes. So instead of doing the same eyeliner that everybody else did, I kind of did mine a little different, and I'll explain how I did that later. We're just using a liquid felt tip liner for the nose, and then a thin brush with eyeshadow on it for this like mouth line. So here's the liner that I was just talking about. So we're taking that same black pencil and using it on my waterline, but instead of going all the way to the inner corner, For my eye shape, I like to go from iris to outer corner, which iris is just the colored part of your eye. So I didn't go all the way from iris to inner corner because I felt like that would look way too heavy since the inner corner of my eyes is very small. And then I just smoked it out with a really tiny eyeshadow brush to make sure that the brown wasn't dragged too far down, because that again would make my eyes look very like droopy. You can complete pretty much this entire look using this Nudes Yeva Expressions palette and the Black Sesame liner. That's like the main products that I used, and just that liquid liner that you can get from like Wet n Wild or just at the dollar store anywhere. But yeah, you can kind of see that I only did that black water liner at the very outsides of my eyes. If I brought it all the way to the inside, it might look a little bit too dark in my opinion. I feel like that doesn't give me a cat look. It kind of gives me like a more like emo look. I don't know. I like it sometimes, but for the cat eye, I really like to make sure that everything is dragged towards the outer corner. And then I'm adding a little bit of brown for definition under the eyes. I feel like a lot of cats have that little line there, and some people have been dragging that line with black eyeshadow or liner down their cheeks. I didn't do the like tear marks just because I don't know, I kind of wanted to keep it a little more simple towards the nose and make that nose contour look kind of like those tear lines instead, but you can always do that if you'd like. Again, for my specific eye shape, I felt like a really sharp, long inner corner would look too heavy, so I'll show you how I do that in a little. But first, we just did the outer corner liner, and again, I just spray my liquid liner with some micellar water and then rub it on a flat surface. You might want to use a palette, not an actual makeup palette, like a mixing palette, just so you don't get your makeup palettes dirty. I'm just lazy. And then that re-wets your liner. So if your liner's dry, that's a great hack for you guys. You don't have to go buy a new one. If you already have one, try that hack and see if it works, because it always rejuvenates my liner, and I swear the liquid liner becomes like endless. Like, you never have to buy a new one. But yeah, I just do a really thin line towards my inner corner for the liner. I try not to keep it too thick because then it'll cover most of my eyelid. And then for the outer corner, I did kind of a straight liner instead of an upturned liner. Since I have almond eyes that kind of droop down towards the back, it would look kind of weird if I did liner that went straight up. So I kept my liner very cat eye and sharp, but I made it more straight than upturned. And I just used very careful and delicate strokes. You don't want to push down too hard because then you might get a thicker line than you initially intended to. But yeah, I just did very, very slow, light, gentle strokes, and I tried to be very patient with my eyeliner and slowly build it up, because it's a lot harder to remove and fix liner than just build it up and make it bigger as you go. You always want to start super small and just make it bigger as you go. And I just went back and forth, kind of connecting them to the middle of my eyes and making them as even as possible. I'm not too picky about how even they are, but I try my best. And then you could use a little bit of concealer on a small brush to kind of even them out. Just in case you mess your liner up, I feel like that's the best way to fix it. Wait till it's completely dry and then go in with a super small brush and some concealer and just tap it on. And then you can tap on top of the concealer whatever color eyeshadow you were using, and it'll just blend in perfectly and look like you never made a mistake in the first place. This eyeshadow brush is from the set I was just talking about earlier. The brushes on them say Jessup, Jessup. And I use them for my eyeshadow. A lot of them are super small and detailed, which I really love because I have kind of like smaller eyes. So when I use big brushes, I tend to get out of control with my eyeshadow and place it where I don't really want it to be. And it's hard to blend because like I feel like I run out of eyeshadow space if I'm using big brushes. We already did the brown on my lids with some bronzer and contour earlier, but we're gonna redefine it by using some eyeshadows that are a bit darker colors and adding them into the crease of my eyes. You can kind of see me explaining with my hands how I do my eyeliner to my live video, and if you want to join my live videos, rai.jasmine, it'll be linked in the description, is my TikTok account where I do makeup lives. They're usually super long, but if you're patient and you want somebody to talk to, join. And there's so many people, there's so many girls that join, so supportive. I love my community over on live. They're like the literal best. They're the whole reason I have my entire platform. I love going live. It doesn't make me money, but it's just so fun for me. So I do it for like interaction and stuff, and I thought I would do these Halloween makeup lives along with my YouTube videos so that I'm not too bored while I'm filming these super long looks. This look took me about 2 hours just because of how full glam, detail, and slow I go. I don't have anywhere to be. This was just for filming, so you could probably get this look done in like 30 minutes to an hour depending on how detailed your base is or like how long you spend on your base. But the actual details of it, like the eyeliner and the leopard print, are probably the longest parts of the look, and you could definitely get it done in less time than I did. I just take forever. I like to go slow. I like to be patient. I don't want to rush, so there's no need to rush when I'm just chilling on live. So join if you want a calm live stream, because I'm not on there screaming. I don't know, some of the lives on TikTok overstimulate me. I feel like we have built a safe haven in the chaotic TikTok live world. It's very calm over there, so if you ever want to join, I'll usually be doing them like randomly. It's not really a schedule, so if you follow me over on Instagram, I usually post on my story every time before I go live. I'll tell you guys like, hey, I'm live right now doing makeup, get ready with me, whatever, and that's like the best way to notify you guys. So if you want to follow me over in there, that's great. You can turn notifications on TikTok, but a lot of people complain that they don't actually get the notifications of my live, and the only reason people really get the notifications is from my Instagram stories. So definitely always check that, and I always post other updates on there like Q&As that I include in videos and such. Yeah, it might look like a ghost town because I never like to post on Instagram. I don't know why, but I post a lot on my story and it's very interactive. So now we're going in with the ColourPop shadow in Ritz, and this is like a glitter shadow, kind of a dupe for the Urban Decay Space Cowboy. And then we're going in with the Dose of Colors stick, and this absolutely mogs the ColourPop shadow. It's so much shinier. It's like, I don't know what they put in this stick. It's, you can use it all over your face. It goes on like, it feels like a gel, like a cold gel stick, and it's just like the most beautiful, shiny, stunning glitter you've ever seen. The first time I ever saw a TikTok of it, I bought it immediately. Like, I literally bought it immediately in all the shades they offered. I'm using shade Icy in this look, but I also have their other shade, which I think is called like Starlight or something, and that one's more of a rainbow glitter. This one's like a champagne glitter. The ColourPop one is definitely cheaper, but if you have the budget, get that Dose of Color sticks in Icy. I don't have a code for you or anything, not sponsored. I just love it that much. It's an insane glitter. Anybody who has it will definitely recommend it to you. It's literally what every other glitter wishes it could be. I used a thin brush and some shadow for my liner, by the way, and that one was also from the Eva Expressions palette. I used that palette for pretty much my entire base anytime I used an eyeshadow. And now I'm going with mascara. I did Tarte Tubing on the top and Lash Paradise on the bottom in brown. I did brown on the bottom just because I don't like heavy makeup on the bottom of my eyes, so I try to cheat it as much as I can when I try to do like a sultry dark under eye so that it doesn't look too heavy on me. So brown on the bottom if you want it to be more natural, but this is a cat look, so go for black if you'd like. I just showed it, but the Makeup by Mario Lip Plumping Serum in shade Cinnamon Glow and shade Nude Glow. And then I used Lily Lashes. Let me go find the style. Alright, I just found the box. The shade, the style I mean. This is Lily Lashes in style Luxe. Lily Lashes has some of the best cat eye lashes that I've ever seen. I don't wear cat eye a lot, but when I wear liquid liner on my like eyelids, when I do like a winged liner, I'll wear cat eye lashes because I feel like it really suits that. I don't really wear it on my bare eyes because, as I said before, my eyes kind of droop down naturally, so I don't usually go for the flare cat eye, but that is a perfect lash for this look, and if you love cat eye lashes in general. Body makeup, I use the Dibs highlighter stick. You can use it on your face and body. I have the gold shade, and I just buffed that in with a big like kabuki brush and just went and swirled it around. You could use a denser brush for a like more shiny, brighter coverage, but if you use a looser brush, it'll kind of make it more of a dispersed sheer glitter, which is what I was kind of going for here. And this is such a beautiful body glow. Again, if you're running around all Halloween night, this stuff isn't gonna go nowhere. Spray some setting spray on it, and then I used that Dose of Colors shadow stick on my collarbones, and then the same kimchi stick for my shoulder. I did like my shoulder going into my chest on one side just for like an asymmetrical look, I guess, and I feel like the body makeup definitely added so much. You can do this makeup with a plain black outfit. Everybody's gonna know what you are. Nobody's gonna check you for it. It's very cute. So I would recommend if you're actually gonna go out, set it with some translucent powder and then some setting spray. But yeah, this is the final look. I hope you guys love it. Comment down below if you would recreate this makeup for your Halloween look. If you do, make sure to tag me in your post. I would love to make a video at the end of the month reacting to all of them for YouTube. I think that would be such a fun video idea. Bye, love you.